Assalamualaikum. My name is Teko Maisara Teko Adenan. My metric number is 256503. Today, I'm going to present to all of you about food and beverage from supplier to customer.
Salam sejahtera everyone. My name is Lee Ming Hui. My number matrix is 261732. Today I would like to sharing about the half bottom part of chapter 9.
The food and beverage industry is all companies involved in processing raw food materials, packaging, and distributing them. This includes fresh, prepared foods as well as packaged foods, and alcoholic and non-alcoholic beverage. Any product meant for human consumption, aside from pharmaceuticals, passes through this industry. There are 7 steps in the process. First, purchasing. Second, receiving. Third, storage. Fourth, issuing. Fifth, preparation. Sixth, cooking. And the last is service. Purchasing. Purchasing is acquisition of products, which is right product in right amount of time at the right price. What exactly right product mean? In the conventional context, the right product is a demand-driven concept that can be loosely defined as a product with features and functions that meet a customer's needs. Operational tough. The definition of the right product should also include that the product is genuine and the product was delivered through its authorized distribution channel. In other words, the right product is not counterfeit and has not been diverted. Purchasing method. Purchasing method divided by two: informal and formal. Informal is price quotes by telephone or personally with salesperson. Amount of purchase is small, no matter for formal purchasing practices. Item can be obtained only from one or two sources. Need is urgent and immediate delivery required. Stability of market and prices is uncertain. Size of operation too small for formal purchasing. It involves ordering needed food and supplies from a selected list of vendors on daily, weekly, or monthly price quotations. It is common in smaller food service operations. For formal, tax-supported institutions usually required to use competitive bidding. Competitive bidding is a form of solicitation that is used in the procurement of goods and services. It is used by companies and government agencies that require delivery of products or services on a large-scale basis. Culminates in formal contract buyer and supplier. A purchase order is a document sent from a buyer to a seller with a request to order a product. When the seller accepts the document, it forms a legally binding contract between the buyer and the seller. The purchase order is usually the result of a purchase order request, also known as a purchase requisition. Understanding legal implications of contract buying is important for both parties. A written contract documents an agreement between two parties under which both must perform. To form a contract, one party must make an offer to another party. If the second party accepts the offer, both will need to exchange consideration to make the contract legally binding. The legal implications stemming from entering a contract depend on the terms of the contract. Purchasing process. There are 8 purchasing process. First, recognition of a need. The identification of the need is dictated by a policy of performance gains. At this stage of the purchasing process, it is a question of making the needs emerge so as to be able to source suppliers capable of solving the problem. The second is description of the needed item. At this stage, it is question of detailing the characteristics and technical specifications sought in order to address the problem in the best conditions. The third is authorization of purchase requisition. A purchase requisition form is a document generated by a department to notify the purchasing department of items it needs to order, their quantity, and the time frame for completing the order. It also contains the authorization to proceed with the purchase. The fourth is negotiation with potential suppliers. This stage consists in determining the administrative and technical clauses to be negotiated, as well as the objective to be achieved. The buyer needs to prioritize to know on which clauses he can agree to make concessions to the seller. He must set realistic and ambitious objectives. The fifth is evaluation of proposal and placement of order. The buying team evaluates suppliers' proposals against criteria such as price, performance, and value for money. As well as evaluating the product, they assess the supplier on factors such as corporate reputation, financial stability, technical reputation, and reliability. 6 is follow-up of order. 7. Verification of invoice and delivered materials. And the last is closure of purchase record. Receiving activity for ensuring products delivered by suppliers are those that were ordered. Verifying quality, size, and quantity meets specifications. Price on invoice agrees with purchase order, and perishable goods are tagged or marked with the date received. Consistent and routine procedures are essentials. Adequate controls to preserve quality and prevent loss during delivery and receipt. Receiving method. Invoice receiving, supplier statement of what is being shipped and the expected payment. Receiving method actually divided by three, which is invoice, blind, and partially blind. Invoice checks quantity against purchase order. Blind records quantity received on invoice or purchase order with blank at list of the items delivered. And partially blind count the number received with the invoice that come with order and the quantity column leave blanket out. Receiving process. There are 5 receiving process. First, inspection against purchase order. Second, inspection against the invoice. Third, acceptance or rejection of orders. Fourth, completion of receiving records. And fifth, removal to storage. Next is storage. Items are kept in a secure area until needed by the kitchen staff. It will be needed for dry food, refrigerated, and frozen food. Storing control general procedure, which is concern in storage. There are 3 primary concerns, which is keeping product secure from theft, information necessary for financial accounting system, and retaining product quality, avoid spoilage.
Next is issuing. Issuing is the process of items are released from storage to the kitchen staff. Issuing will using FIFO system, which is first in first out system. It is the product held in inventory. The longest should be the first to be issued to production areas. For control purposes, not everyone but only few people can access to the storage and issuing areas. For those who would like to access the storage and issuing areas, there should be apply for requisition form, which is signed by someone in authority is needed before food and beverage item can be released from storage. There are storeroom key control, which is only staff members who need keys should have the keys. Using inventory record keeping systems. An inventory recording system has to deal with the recording of physical quantities of stock and its valuation. Now there are two basic types of record keeping system for determining the inventory of a restaurant, which are physical inventory system and perpetual inventory system. And what is the meaning of physical inventory system and perpetual inventory systems? Physical inventory system involve actual observation and counting of store product on a periodic basis, while the perpetual inventory system are continuous records of what is bought and issued. Thus, this system involves keeping a running balance of the quantity of stored products by recording all newly purchased items as they enter storage areas and quantity issued from storage to production areas. Then is inventory control tools. The definition of inventory turnover is a ratio showing how many times a restaurant has sold and replaced inventory during a given period. Inventory turnover can indicate of ability to control the amount of product held in inventory. The formula of inventory turnover is food cost divided by average food inventory. And then is food preparation and production. In the production area, the food will be classified by kind, such as rice, raw, meat, vegetable, and so on, to make sure the hygiene of the kitchen and also make the food handling process more easier. In the function area, functions tend to be divided into four categories, which for the first one is meat, fish, poultry preparation. Second one is vegetable preparation. Third one is salad preparation. Fourth is sandwich preparation. In smaller preparations, the salad and sandwich and all the vegetable and salad functions are combined. It is because to maintain quality level in sufficient quantities to meet customer demands, and also minimizing the waste. For the cooking part, there are four types of food service operation from the kitchen to the customer, which are conventional or traditional, ready prepared, commissary, and also assembly or serve. And there are two principles of cooking, which are moist heat and dry heat. Then, what is the meaning of moist heat? Moist heat is use of water or steam for cooking process. Moist heat dissolves both to render the meat and vegetable tender. Here, I will introduce 6 kinds of cooking methods. For the first one is boiling. Boiling is cooking in a liquid that is bubbling for a short period of time. The temperature of boiling will be until 212 degrees Celsius. And the second one is braising. Braising is cooking food in a small amount of liquid, usually after browning it. And the third one is poaching. Poaching is a little bit like braising, which is cooking in a small amount of liquid that is hot but not bubbling. The temperature of poaching is between 160 until 180 degrees Celsius. And the fourth one is stewing. Stewing is cooking in a liquid more than braising and covering the food entirely. And the fifth one is simmering. Simmering is cooking in a liquid that is boiling gently. The temperature of simmering is between 185 degrees Celsius until 205 degrees Celsius. You all can see the difference of boiling and simmering at the picture at the middle. And the last one is steaming. Steaming is cooking food by exposing them to direct steam. For example, bao and siumai. And the second principle of cooking is dry heat. Dry heat is use of dry air, hot metal radiation, or a minimal amount of hot fat for the cooking process. And the dry heat is used for more tender foods. There are 5 cooking methods in dry heat. For the first one is broiling. Broiling reserved for the best cuts of meat, which is use the temperature between 300 until 350 degrees Celsius. And the second one is grilling. Grilling is similar to broiling, usually reserved for steaks and hamburgers. And the third one is overnizing. Overnizing is food placed in grease pans and used fat while baked. And the fourth one is roasting. Roasting done at low temperature, which is between 250 until 350 degrees Celsius. And then is frying. Frying is cooked in fat or oil. Frying can be pan frying or deep frying. Deep frying is food immersed in tank of oil heated by gas or electricity. For example, French fried or pisang goreng. And then standardized recipes will be used in restaurants to control costs and ensure consistency in ingredient quality, preparation method, portion size, and also service method. The content of standardized recipe include name of menu, pan size, temperature, yield, portion size, portion utensil, cooking time, quality of ingredients, sequence list of ingredients, method, and special equipment needs. And then there are few of categories of service in food and beverage, which are family style, plate service, table side service or French service, platter service or Russian service, and also buffet service. And then is dishwashing. Dishwashing is most reliable way to clean and sanitize dishes and utensils. In this process, we will do scraping process. The scraping process is disposing of fragments of discarded or leftover food in the dishwashing process. We can find there are many types of dishes machines, which are single tank, rack conveyor, and freight types of continuous conveyor. And then is waste disposal. Waste disposal is an activity which shows that social responsiveness, which ethics involving the responsibility of a company to society. In every year, there are almost 60 until 70% of solid waste discarded is service-related, food, napkins, straw, and etc. So it is very important to take attention in waste management practice, which is include cycling, source reduction, incineration, composting, and biological solutions. So that's all for our presentation. Thank you.